Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. If you are a new player to Hearthstone or if you are a returning player, you have a chance to get a free deck. The rules to get a free deck goes as follows. You need to complete apprenticeship and reach bronze 10, or alternatively you can skip apprenticeship ranks altogether, which will mean missing out on several packs of rewards and start at bronze 10, or if you are a returning player and you have not logged into the game for 120 days. In these cases, you get to choose a new deck, and you're offered one deck for each class. Decks that are offered are updated once per expansion, so now we have the update for Voyage to Sunken City. The expansion update always includes no new cards, so there are no Voyage to Sunken City cards in this one, only cards from the previous expansion and times before that. And this deck is limited one time per account, so if you have already received a new deck from being a returning player, you can't return to the game again and get another deck. But let's take a look at all of the 10 decks and see which one you should be picking. A word of warning right here at the start: sometimes these decks have been useful, sometimes the decks have even been capable of being played all the way to Legend. But this time we're back to all the decks being absolute junk. None of these decks are in any way playable, so the only way to use these decks is that you pick the deck and then you scavenge it for parts. So you're really choosing cards here, not decks, because none of these decks can have any chance on the ladder. And first we have Demon Hunter, and Demon Hunter deck is quite interesting actually, because it gives you Courteous Demon Render, which is a very powerful hero card, and the card is used in every Demon Hunter deck. So if you ever want to play Demon Hunter, you want Courteous Demon Render. So that's a pretty good incentive to pick this deck. You also get a pair of Fell Gorgers, which are being used in some of the Fell decks at the moment. And you get a bunch of these commons and rares that are being used in various aggressive Demon Hunter decks. So this deck is actually quite simple to convert into a functional aggro Demon Hunter deck. Although ideally you would need Drektar, which is another legendary, to do it, but that's the only expensive card really that is missing. So alright, that kind of option. And then there's Druid. Druid is the only deck actually that doesn't offer the class's hero card. Every other deck offers the hero card, which is a very powerful card from last year, and this one doesn't. But this is almost kind of like a playable Beast Druid deck, with Oracle of Elune, with Frostsaber Matriarch, very important key cards in the archetype. Wing Commander Malverick, a little bit more of a tech card meta choice. It would need some adjusting to be able to be playable. And its main problem is that Beast Druid, while it was a good archetype in the previous expansion, in this expansion it's barely hitting 50% win rate. So even if you fix this deck to be a viable Beast Druid, you might still have tough time on the ladder. The Hunter deck is a big Beast Hunter. It's an archetype that was also kind of playable in last expansion, not really playable in this expansion. You do get Beastalker Tavish, which is a strong hero card. You get Wing Commander Ichman, which is a staple in these sorts of big Beast Hunter decks, but they are all kind of memey, so it might not be a big advantage. But the thing is that many Hunter decks are very aggressive, and they might not even use Beastalker Tavish. There's Quest Hunter, which is the quest line legendary. There's Face Hunter. Neither of those really use Tavish for anything, so while Tavish is powerful in multiple archetypes, none of those archetypes are part of the meta at the moment. The Mage deck is a big spell mage. You get Magister Dawngrasp, a phenomenal hero card for slow decks, and this meta is quite hostile to slow decks, so we'll see. You get Belinda Stoneheart, you get some big spells like Rune of the Archmage, Mass Polymorph. There are some mech mage decks at the moment that make use of Belinda Stoneheart, but the mech mage decks that don't use Belinda are actually doing better. And Magister Dawngrasp, like pretty much the only deck that uses all these cards is Reno Mage. Reno Mage is a meme deck. Basically, it's not really a meta deck. It struggles to hit 50% win rate, although it's a lot of fun. I do like playing that deck a lot. So you kind of get cards to build one meme deck and not much else. Paladin deck is some kind of big paladin. Big paladin is nowhere near viable at the moment, so there's no way you can do anything like this. But you do get two powerful paladin legendary cards, Lightforge Cariel and Cariel Roam. Lightforge Cariel is used in every single paladin deck, so if you ever want to play with paladin, you want to have Lightforge Cariel, so that's a phenomenal card. Cariel Roam is used in many paladin decks, Control Paladin for example, which is currently the best paladin deck, at slightly over 50% win rate, but it would still take a lot of work to convert this into a Control Paladin. but these two cards can definitely help with that. The Priest deck includes a lot of legendary cards because there's Korak the Blood Rager, Zerala the Devout, and Zerala. Okay, so numerically that's many. On the other hand, Korak does not see any play at the moment. Zerala the Devout, okay, it's a strong legendary card, strong hero card for very slow archetypes. And there is like this Shellfish Priest at the moment, which is this sort of combo-ish, control combo style deck. So Zyrella is potentially usable in that one, but you still need other pieces to make that work. You get some of those pieces in this deck though, because you get stuff like Condemn as well. So if you like to play Priest, this is not a bad choice, although Priest is not doing very well at the moment. The Rogue deck is a total meme. It is a Burgle Rogue which goes as deep into the Burgle as it can, and that is not a viable way to play this game. You get Shadowcrafter Scabs. Shadowcrafter Scabs used to be a strong card back when it was 7 mana, but it was nerfed to 8 mana, and it kind of lost its power at that point. It's a bit too slow because Rogue usually wants to play for tempo. All the other cards you get are pretty much useless, so yeah, this Rogue deck doesn't even help you very much in building other Rogue decks. As for the Shaman deck, the other legendary card pair on Glacier, the epic cards are pretty useless, but you do get the excellent Brukan of the Elements, which is basically used in every single Shaman deck, because why not? Brukan of the Elements can be a finisher in an aggressive deck, it can be a value engine in a control deck, it just goes everywhere. And you do get some pieces to build like a Burn Shaman here, although these are not necessarily very expensive, like Snowfall Guardians and Wildpaw Caverns and Brilliant Macaws, Sleet Breakers. There's some potential to build a viable deck around the core that you get from here, but the deck as it is right here, it just doesn't do anything. The Warlock deck would have been splendid before the rotation. It offers you 3 legendary cards that have all seen meta play at some point: Dreadlich Tamsin, Rome, and Anetheron. Unfortunately, none of them see much play right now because no one plays Warlock, because Warlock sucks in the current expansion. So that's a bit of a problem. If you want to play Curse Warlock, which is a little bit of a meme deck I suppose, you do need the Curse Warlock legendary, but the Curse Warlock deck does use Dreadlich Tamsin and Tamsin Rome both, so you would get some pieces from this to build into that. But sadly the state of Warlock is just not very good. The Warrior deck is an almost complete tier 3 deck. This is Charge Warrior, this is a combo deck. It's a control combo deck, so you're defending, and then you're going in with your combo. You have 2 copies of To the Front, then you have Faceless Manipulators, Captain Galvangar, and Battleground Battlemaster, which means that you will be able to play all of this stuff at once. You will be able to have multiple Captain Galvangars that will have Wind Fury, and they are just all going face. So this deck already has a win condition. It's missing some of the pieces that allow it to get there, but those pieces are not necessarily very expensive, so this can be converted into a fully functional control combo deck. The problem is that that deck is slightly above 50% deck, so it's still not awesome. But if you enjoy that sort of control combo style, then this is an option. So to reiterate, all of these decks are junk, none of them are playable out of the box, there's no chance to climb the ladder with any of these. You do get some bits and pieces, especially in 9 of the 10 decks you're going to get the hero card for the class, which is going to stay for another year in standard format, probably going to be playable at some point, even though some of the hero cards do not see any play in the current meta decks. Throughout this video I've tried to evaluate like what kind of cards would see play and what deck archetypes would see play out of these. And yeah, I hope that helps you clarify what you want to pick. Remember, none of the decks are useful, so you're only picking for parts. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and check out my Twitch channel.